All right, welcome back to Rare Elvis Photos. We had quite the day yesterday. A lot of comments on the interview I had with Derry Matera. I also did a reading last night of Are You Lonesome Tonight? And so, before we get too far into this comment video, I just want to let y'all know that, first off, I'm not trying to push what I feel on y'all. Okay, I want y'all to have your own opinions. You'll notice that the opinions are still left up about, oh, this is a crock, or this is not real, or this can't be real. I respect y'all. Y'all are Elvis fans. Okay, it's not you're not rare. You're not bound to Rare Elvis Photos. You can have your opinion. You can have a contrary opinion to me, and I'm perfectly fine with that. What I was just bringing to y'all, and still bringing to y'all, is the possibility that that this is a real thing. That there is another daughter of Elvis out there, and perhaps more. I've had some conversations with some other folks too online. That being said, this is a book that I remembered. That's why I brought it to you. I brought it to you because it's a book I read when I was young, and I believed it at the time. And so I'm reading it again, and I'm reading it again for the first time with y'all since then. And, we are now into the first time that Lucy and Elvis were intimate. And everything that I'm reading and I've researched on my side shows to be true. I know Elvis Presley went out there and played acoustically. He auditioned for things. He played wherever he could. Now, there's a lot of questions about, well, why doesn't Elvis talk about it? Why is it not part of his history? Well, I can tell you that when you're an artist and you're already big, you don't talk about the small little teeny stuff. You might say, that you played all over the place with your band, but in a way, somebody that's playing acoustically back then, it's not cool like it is now. You just did it because nobody wanted to hire your band, or you didn't have a band because you weren't good enough. So there would be no reason. There'd be no reason for Elvis to talk about his acoustic performances, the times when he played in between bands, the time when he might have gone and played for Governor James No because maybe he was turned down for the jamboree, and maybe somebody heard him and said, hey, I got a spot for you to sing something. Or if he was singing on a flatbed truck and said, hey, there's a party over here, the governor's looking for entertainment, we can get you up to sing a few songs. Those are the kind of things that would have happened. They would have happened for Elvis. Those are the only opportunities that would have happened for Elvis. He was young. He was an imitator at the time, in a sense, because that's what you do when you're young. You imitate other people. He wasn't a songwriter. So I want y'all to just to remember that these are possibilities, and they're very good possibilities, because I know what life is like as an artist starting out. I lived it. Now, the only thing that I had different than Elvis is I was a songwriter, so I could create songs. And that gave me a lot more ins a lot more quick. Elvis had one child, the lady's bogus, hundreds wrote books claiming to be a lover or related. Nothing ever panned out. Now, Somi, once again, I get your opinion. And it's a good opinion that you have. That's what you believe. But I think that, first off, Elvis could have had a lot more children. The estate would block any claim. They also wouldn't give up any DNA. They were very tight-fisted in the 80s. Elvis had some crock claim that she had a child by him, and of course he gave blood, and it was proven out. That was early in the 70s, I believe. But for the most part, the people that might have had a relationship or had a child with them, it's going to be embarrassing for them too, if you think about it. Elvis didn't love him enough to stay. Or, in Lucy's case, she was trying to protect him, according to Derry, his reputation. And now here you go, SDH, cross country. It's sad that even in Lisa Marie's death, there are still people that believe and wanting to claim that they were his child. Now, this is not somebody coming out nowadays. This was 1987. This was somebody that it took 2 years for Derry, at least a year for her to even talk to him. And she wouldn't provide a lot of stuff for him for a couple of years because she didn't want to go through it. She was only really going through it because of the daughter. She didn't reach out. Her daughter had reached out to this journalist. So DNA testing started in 84. Why, if you thought you were a child of Elvis Presley, get tested, at least have proof? She can test all she wants in 1984, but unless the DNA was provided by Presley, back then you would have nothing to match to. And I don't know. I haven't talked to Desiree. I haven't talked to Derry about that, why she doesn't want to do it nowadays. Perhaps she doesn't want to do it because the chapter's over. Her mom told her story. Maybe she believes it. She's with the Julio Iglesias circle. She she doesn't need money. She's not trying to do a money grab. This story that's out right now that I'm putting out has nothing to do with Desiree or Lucy trying to get money. This is an old book that I bought, that I read. And I'm bringing it not to put down Elvis's legacy, because to me, if he loved somebody, if he loved more than one person, we already know. We always talk about Anne Margaret, love of his life. We talk about all the other actors and actresses, all the other actresses that are out there that he loved or they loved him. This is just another person that, to me, it's even more plausible. If you don't like Priscilla Presley, well, I mean, why are we defending there's only one child? Okay? And it's nothing against Lisa. Lisa, it doesn't tarnish her being a daughter at all. I mean, who cares if there's one other or three others or five others? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Nothing bad versus Elvis or Lisa to consider that possibility. Hello, I was born in 29 Palms, California, April 16th, 1957. My daddy was in the Marine Corps. My mommy lived on a Marine Corps base. That's amazing. I'm the only child of parents living in the Marine Corps base in 29 Palms in 57. They had a trailer back then, and their son born died at 6 months of heart disease in 29 Palms. Passed on to just a year ago. I don't know if he was born in 29 Palms. So I think we're talking about 29 Palms perhaps because maybe in a video I mentioned that I'm from 29 Palms. So this is interesting. So I appreciate you letting me know that you're from out there. And maybe I ran into you because I left 29 Palms in 1996 and moved to Nashville to be a singer-songwriter. So very cool. So let's go back and talk a little about the Are You Lonesome Tonight book. First off, if you have doubts, watch the whole video with Derry and I. That just covers really up to 1953. He mentions a couple things, and one of the things is a poem that Elvis wrote to Lucy that they wanted to put in the book. They had the world's most renowned handwriting expert look at it. He said, without a doubt, it's Elvis. He had the FBI look at it. They said, without a doubt, it's Elvis. The estate didn't let them put it in the book because they considered it property of Elvis Presley Enterprises because Elvis wrote it. It was written to her. And, well, his nickname, now we're not there in the book yet, but what Derry said yesterday is his nickname for Lucy was Desiree. And wouldn't you know, Lucy names her daughter Desiree. So, anyhow, we got to get to the reading in that book, and get to those parts. I'm going to read another section today, and we're going to have another interview with Derry next week, I believe, if his schedule affords it and my schedule affords it. So 10207, I get that, but I thought and heard on podcast Elvis saw Joyce Bova when Elvis visited President Nixon, and Derry answered that comment, I believe, that Lucy was there on the first day. And then she left. Now, remember, she's got kids. She's got a life. And I don't know where she's at in 73 when it comes to this book. I just don't know. I can't answer that. But then, of course, obviously, he did see Joyce Bova, too. And Joyce said she got pregnant and had an abortion. Now, once again, she wrote a book and profited about it at the time. It wasn't like in the 80s. And she reached out to do this story. Lucy's different. She wasn't trying to write a book. She wasn't trying to tell her story. She wanted her daughter to know it, and her daughter wanted her to tell a story, and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed for it. Hey, Ruby, this interview was so interesting. I remember reading the book a couple of years ago. I bought it off of Amazon, just couldn't put it down. Even in 58, daddies were not allowed in hospital rooms while giving birth, and many fathers were not with the mom for different reasons. Signature of the father would not have been necessary, just his name. Women do this all the time as for using another last name for the father. The signature is not necessary. So on that birth certificate, which I think I've included a copy in this video or last night. It might have been last night. The name of the father that Lucy put down was Randolph Presley. She put an occupation down, all this other stuff. Well, guess what? Derry Well, she said she did that because she didn't want to. She wanted to have the Presley name on there for her daughter, you know, and for factual truth in a sense. But Derry said he researched. There's no such person that ever existed. She made this person up and put it on the birth certificate. So it's not like a Randolph Presley really could have been the father. You know, if I'm not mistaken, Elvis in his last will and testament stated that any children born out of marriage would not receive anything from his estate. Doesn't sound like Desiree needs anything from the Presley estate, so why would she come forward now or resurface or put herself through the mess that's going on? I wouldn't. I'm keeping my mind open. Anyone thinks that it's not possibly Elvis that didn't father any other children is delusional. I mean, we're talking about Elvis. So Desiree's not coming forward. This is me putting the book out. I'm putting it out for the channel because, this channel is all things Elvis. We defend Elvis, and I would love it if Elvis had more children. I would love it if he had more people that he loved, because everybody has a right to love people. Everybody's a right to find their pieces of happiness. If you're lucky enough, like I am, to be married for 18 years and be just over the moon about my wife. I've loved my wife since I met her. And I was an artist, kind of like Elvis. I had a lot of women around, and I dated a lot of people. But when I met my wife, that all went away. I didn't want to be with anybody else. So Elvis, I don't think, was fortunate in that regard. I think that he was constantly around women, constantly in the entertainment industry, and I think he tried to find a piece of happiness whenever he could. So like I said, to me, this doesn't put down Elvis's legacy. I think it defends him more than anything, that he was a human. That's what we love about Elvis. His love for the fans, his love for people. And I think if he would have known about Desiree, of course he would have taken care of Desiree. Of course he would have. So there's no question about that. Elvis and Lucy, their first dates, Are You Lonesome Tonight? If I remember correctly, he said in an interview once that he did not know how to ride a horse before he made Love Me Tender. So this makes me wonder if this is a load of crap. Not trying to be negative, Nancy, just stating my opinion. Hey, Annabelle. Annabelle Campos. So I was actually looking up Elvis and riding a horse, and I did see him with June Winico with a horse. Now, June was an early girlfriend of Elvis. So before Love Me Tender, there's a picture of Elvis and June Winico with a horse, and I feel like I saw a picture of him and his cousin Gene on a horse when they were younger. Could be wrong about that. That being said, gosh, if Elvis were around these days, everything would be documented. Back then, in the early days, 53, 54, did anybody give a crap about Elvis and document anything? Not really. That's so long ago that most people are gone. They're dead and gone now that were around Elvis. So it's really hard to find a lot of documentation. And I'm curious. I'll ask Derry about that. But I did enough research on my side to see that there was, and he loved Westerns, and he loved the idea of horses even back then. And somebody was like, well, they had to teach him how to ride a horse on Love Me Tender. Maybe they had to teach him a certain style, and maybe he got scared because he got thrown off a horse. That can happen, and you get shooken up. I know when I got on my horse for the first time, it was a thoroughbred, and we were in the desert of California on a mountain trail ride, going up a mountain. Then it flattened out about 1.5 miles to 2 miles to Pioneer Town, California. We get up the mountain, and everybody took off on their horses. And this is my first time on a horse. I was given guitar lessons in order for horse riding lessons, how to saddle a horse, how to bit a horse. And so 2 miles up the mountain, we get up to the top. They take off on a race, and mine's a thoroughbred. So we start up behind, and I'm thinking, what the heck? I'm going to get thrown off and killed. And this horse is passing everybody. It didn't like to have the sand in its eyes. And we get out front, and we're way in front of everybody. And, and I'm trying to pull the horse, pull the reins to the left, pull the reins to the right, pull down. Finally, I pulled down hard enough to the left that it went off to the left, jumped over a fence and skidded up next to a house. And, it was a nice 3-foot fence we jumped. It was a big fence. Anyways, I opened the gate. We ended up trotting into town. And I wasn't scared to be on a horse from that point in time, because that horse couldn't get me off. But that being said, you get bucked by a horse, you think about it, just about anybody gets kind of fearful, because they're powerful animals. The comment that's rolling by right now says that somebody saw an interview with Dave Hebler, and that he said he didn't see any of those things. He'd been tortured his entire life. No one would talk with him. He was a very interesting man with a hard life story. He cried a lot during the interview. I'm going to try and listen to him again. Everyone deserves forgiveness. I'll take a look at it. I'll do that for you because you're a subscriber. I'll look into Dave Hebler some more because I've got my own preconceived notions of Dave Hebler because, once again, he's one of the three authors. Now, I've seen an interview with Sonny crying, but I don't know if I've seen an interview with Dave Hebler crying. So you can see when somebody's alligator tears are real or false. So I appreciate that. Would anyone, so the child bride eyewitnesses to Priscilla scandalous acts. What's up, Drew? Would any one of us want someone going through our lives with a microscope? Not defending Priscilla's adult actions, but we are learning about things that Elvis did or might have done. I'm not sure if I expanded on that comment and hit that read more. I thought I did that to everybody. But Drew, she's in the public life. If she wasn't in the public life, seeking adulation and fans and a lot of money and opening up anything she says to question, then I would say yes. I would say yes, that we shouldn't be looking into stuff, But the thing is, will Priscilla start fighting back? Nah. I don't think so. She don't care. She don't care about any of y'all. She doesn't even care about her fans, in my opinion. But she certainly doesn't care about anybody that doesn't like her. Look at somebody asked her about the Lisa book, and she laughed, and basically said her daughter was made things up. That's what her daughter did. She just liked to make things up. She said, "That's my daughter. I love her." She'd say things, and then she'd regret them. That's her only thing that she said about the book that I've seen. And Navarone was looking like a laughing coyote jackal next to it, like, "Oh, stupid Lisa Marie." It's always been said that you couldn't make Elvis do anything that he didn't want to do. So if Lucy was his true love, he would have made a way for her to be with him and not kept her a secret. He gave money, homes, and cars to complete strangers. Did he lavish her with a beautiful home and cars on a regular base like he did his friends and family? If not, why? So what I read last night, Lucy asked Elvis to not tell anybody. And why? She's married to an abusive 40 or 50 at that time, probably, man. She's got 2 kids. She's living a secret life right now because she doesn't want to get caught. That would be why. I think from what Derry says, we have to get in this book more. Elvis didn't find out about Desiree until the end of his life. So no, he didn't give her houses. No, he didn't give her cars. And I've got a feeling that she made herself kind of hard to find. And I don't know. I don't exactly. I have some core memories of where this book went. But remember, Elvis went in the army. Then Elvis went to Hollywood. Elvis was busy all the time. Elvis had living girlfriends, all that stuff. So I don't know. We're going to keep reading what's going on. Elvis, Babaloo makes me laugh. Babaloo. Priscilla, Babaloo. All right, so I'm going to let these comments roll, play some music. I'll be back later on today. We're going to be reading some Elvis and Kathy, some Child Bride, Are You Lonesome Tonight, maybe Inside Elvis. You can hear the vacuum in the background. I got my sister coming in town and her husband for a little visit. But I'll get all this stuff done around that, before that. That way we don't have to have a pause in what we're reading. All right, TCB TLC, enjoy the music. Thank you to everybody that's been leaving me the super thanks, the little thanks button below that you can leave a monetary donation to the channel. It's helpful. It really is. And it's been surprising because I really hadn't seen any of those all year long. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of them are popping up. So thank you. When I do see that happen, I will give you a shout out for sure. Well deserving. Thank you to the members that have been, we have a new member that has joined recently, and I've featured that in a comment as well. All right, let's get some music, some of the songs I wrote about Elvis here, and it's going to be out on Apple as soon as I get to go ahead that my channel is going to be 100% safe. As you know, it's very difficult to get a hold of anybody in YouTube or Google. It's a huge conglomerate company, and they don't like to answer phones. In fact, there's no phone, so it's a lot of communication over social media and email and chat. So anyhow, it will be available on Apple. I've already got it ready. I've got it loaded, but the thing is I've not released it yet because I got to make sure that the channel's safe and that they don't put a claim on the channel for my own music. So soon enough that'll be, and I'll let y'all know in the comments. I know there's been hundreds and maybe even thousands of comments about wanting to download the record because it is honoring Elvis. It's going to be called Rare Elvis Photos, Songs of Elvis. And the artist is going to be The Sins Country. That's my wife and I, our duo. All right, Drew, what's going on? This is a beautiful, very believable story. Let's keep reading that comment. Y'all just keep reading the comment. And here's some songs about Elvis.
He walked on stage with a smile, made our dreams come true for a while. Guitar in hand, moving wild, Every scream made him feel alive. Shook his hips, people would sigh. If I can dream, he'd touch the sky. Jailhouse rocking all night long, to the rhythm of a rock and roll song. Elvis gave his life for his fans, sang his heart out right till the end. Every note he gave a piece of his soul, because rock and roll made him whole. Here's where music ended and began. Elvis gave his life for his fans. Long nights on the road, legends told, stories unfold. From Graceland to the crowd, he played every song loud and proud. Elvis gave his life for his fans, sang his heart out right till the end. Every note he gave a piece of his soul, because rock and roll made him whole. Here's where music ended and began. Elvis gave his life for his fans. He shined like the brightest star. Love for that music took him far. Echoes of his voice still live on in every one of his songs. Elvis gave his life for his fans, sang his heart out right till the end. Every note he gave a piece of his soul, because rock and roll made him whole. Here's where music ended and began. Elvis gave his life for his fans. Here's where all music ended and began. Elvis gave his life for his fans. Don't let no one talk about the king. We defend his memory, let Elvis' freedom ring. No ex-wife of his gonna ruin the love we feel for the boy from Tupelo, then straight to Bill. He changed the world with one move of his hips. He changed the world with one sneer from his lips. There would be no Beatles or Rolling Stones, Tupac Shakur, pop or rock and roll without him. The world is not as bright without him. He loved us all as he sung from stage. We hung on every word, every turn of the leg. And on that screen, we watched him change our lives. Every word he spoke left us all in awe and mesmerized. He changed the world with one move of his hips. He changed the world with one sneer from his lips. There would be no Beatles or Rolling Stones, Tupac Shakur, pop or rock and roll without him. The brightness of the world would be so dim without him. Without him, the world is not as bright without him. suede shoes stepped through the White House doors. The country was going down the tubes. Elvis couldn't be ignored. Nixon at his desk all stern, wondering what the king might say. He didn't like the Memphis Flash until meeting him that day. The king and the president, rock and roll and politics. Let's make a change, let's take a stand. Nixon then shook his head. Nobody saw those two mixing, Elvis and Nixon. Elvis said with a serious look, I'm here to help with the youth. Let the real revolution begin. The badge was all it took. The king and the president, rock and roll and politics. Let's make a change, let's take a stand. Nixon then shook his head. Nobody saw those two mixing, Elvis and Nixon. Nixon a 45, he brought him as a gift. The president knew this was a day he never would forget. The king and the president, rock and roll and politics. Let's make a change, let's take a stand. Nixon then shook his head. Nobody saw those two mixing, Elvis and Nixon. Rock and roll and politics. Let's make a change, let's take a stand. Nixon then shook his hand. Nobody saw those two mixing, Elvis and Nixon. He handed Nixon a 45, he brought him as a gift. The president knew this was a day he never would forget. The king and the president, rock and roll and politics. Let's make a change, let's take a stand. Nixon then shook his head. Nobody saw those two mixing, Elvis and Nixon. He was born in a shack in Tupelo, a healthy boy, but he lost his baby bro. He grew up poor, a dirt poor life. The only thing he had was a guitar and a bike. That was Elvis, born in 35, that was Elvis. The coolest kind of life from don't be cruel to all shook up, suspicious minds to burn in love. That was Elvis. In the summer of '77, Priscilla broke his heart and sent him back to heaven. He sang his songs for all to hear. American Trilogy still brings a tear. That was Elvis, born at 35, that was Elvis. The coolest kind of life from don't be cruel to all shook up, suspicious minds to burn in love. That was Elvis. A gift in Lisa Marie, Now she's singing with Elvis in heaven's jubilee. That was Elvis, born in 35. That was Elvis, the coolest kind of life. And don't be cruel to all shook up, suspicious minds to burn in love. That was Elvis, from that's alright to all shook up, suspicious minds to burn in love. That was Elvis, Elvis, Elvis. That was Elvis, Elvis. That was Elvis, Elvis, Elvis.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the reading the comments, hearing some of the Elvis music that I've written and recorded and I'm about to put out. EP fan forever, great comment there. Appreciate you. Yeah, so till next time, which is coming pretty soon, make sure you tune in to the Elvis and Kathy, Are You Lonesome Tonight? Miami Days with Elvis, From Here to the Great Unknown, Inside Elvis. I'll get some read from each book today. And stay tuned. We're going to have another interview with Derry Matera. And so any questions that you have in the comments, he's been looking around. I'll try to come up with some of the comments that are contrary or some of the ones that agree but ask certain questions. So next time I can ask him and then he can answer them. He's a kind man, and I'm very grateful that he agreed to sit down and talk to me. One of our own, Kathy Pitts, one of our own subscribers here on this channel, is the one that actually put me in touch with Derry. So if you know other people in the Elvis world and you want me to interview them, certainly let me know. Send me an email at rareelvisphotos@gmail.com. That's rareelvisphotos@gmail.com. And I'll get in touch, if you got contact information. So I would love to talk to anybody. And I'd love to talk to Suzanne Finstead about her book. And maybe I'll get to do that soon. All right. And Peggy Salter certainly does not like anything to do with Are You Lonesome Tonight or the author. That being said, she really hasn't provided anything yet of any substance about why it isn't true, like some facts. And if you can do that, Peggy, I will showcase that, okay? And then we'll take a look into that. Look, if this was true, it would be headlining all over the world. It's old news. If Elvis had all these children, they would come forward to say, I'm Elvis' love child. We would be knee deep in Elvis kids. I don't know about that, Flo Archibald. Only somebody would be headlining all over the world like Elvis Presley Jr., who's out there playing music. Now, I haven't really looked into it super deep. He claims to be Elvis' son. Now, once again, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Desiree, Lucy DeBarban, Are You Lonesome Tonight? And here comes Peggy Salter again. I think she's unhappy. I saw them on Phil Donahue's show. She said ninth certificate, had plastic durgagi before the show. Don't understand what you're writing there, Peggy. Maybe edit that so everybody else can read and it's clear English so that we can understand what you say there, because that's important. And I know you're trying to get your point across. All right, TCB, TLC, Evelyn, I'm glad you have the book. You read it many years ago, and I think you liked it, if I remember right. Believed it sounded true. Till next time, this is Rare Elvis Photos. Derry looks like he's convinced me that Lucy's story was true. I think so. So it looks like there's a contrarian up there with Peggy Salter, and then Evelyn believes that it's true. So let me know what you think. You can leave a comment on this video too. And I'm enjoying you guys. I'm enjoying you, ladies and gentlemen. This is a lot of fun. We're having a lot of great conversation. We're uncovering some great stories in Elvis and Kathy, inside Elvis. And if this is true, this Are You Lonesome Tonight, it gives us one of the only looks at the early Elvis. And I think that's amazing.
The shadow of the king still haunts the Memphis night. In the dimming southern light, Graceland comes alive. He walks those southern halls, his footsteps fall and fall, until those gates up front swing wide and bring his fans inside. Elvis looks out, smiles down at the crowd from his window watching time go by, watching over us all, day after day, night after night. Memories like a song keeps the King walking on. He is still amazed. We love him to this day. Elvis looks out, smiles down at the crowd, from his window way up high at Graceland, watching time go by, watching over us all, day after day, night after night. Never risen like a song, keeps the King walking on. He's still amazed. We love him to this day. Elvis looks out, smiles down at the crowd, from his window way up high at Graceland, watching time go by, watching over us all, day after day, night after night, day after day, night after night.